Hello, Ivan. Can you hear me? This is Chaz. Mega. Yep, sounds good. Hello everybody and welcome to the 2023 EuroLEGENds Cup here from Autodrom Most in Czechia. My name is Chaz Draycott. I'm the English commentator for this championship. My wonderful colleague Adam Weller has recommended me to this wonderful event. Adam, unfortunately, unable to make it to this final race of the weekend, but we're here in very difficult conditions here at Most. Just during the last race of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, it has absolutely pelted it down. So luckily, the drivers are able to still get out there, and hopefully for their sake, it's not going to be too messy out there, because these legends, as you all know by now, are very lively even in the even in the dry conditions, let alone in the wet conditions as well. You can see the driver third on the grid there, Luigi Maselli, just wiggling the car around quite aggressively to make sure he can get some temperature into the tyres. But we start behind the safety car here due to these conditions. We'll run you through the grid though. It's Claudio Capelli on pole position in the bright yellow number 75 machine. Alberto Nasca joins him on the front row, although line astern at this moment in time. Luigi Maselli, as mentioned, will be in third place. Then we have Davide Gaggianesi in fourth position. He is in car number 12. Then it's Rosario Messina in car number 8 on the third row, alongside Simone Giussani in car 99. Alessandro Bellini in car 10 is next up. Joining him on the fourth row is Luca Verdi. Then we have Claude Watena. He's going to be starting in car number 26 in 9th place. And then Fabiano Verdi is in 10th in car 61. And at the back of the grid, car number 50, Michele Matura will line up in 11th position. Just the 11 cars for today's race, but the race is officially underway as such, based on the fact that the conditions are that difficult and treacherous out here. They're just staying under yellow flag conditions, led by the Hyundai i30N pace car. At the moment, there is car 75, Claudio Capelli. Currently, it is the number 12 machine of Davide Gaggianesi that leads the championship, at least coming into this round anyway, ahead of Alberto Nasca. He's actually tied with Simone Giussani in car 99 at this moment in time. Rosario Messina next up in the championship. Claudio Capelli is actually tied for 6th in the championship with Bellini at this point. So it'd be great for Capelli to get some solid points on the board for this one. My wonderful colleague Adam has already mentioned that there was a lot of drama in the second race of the weekend, with Capelli going straight on into the gravel at the penultimate corner, but Nasca followed him in. They both got back onto the circuit and out of the gravel again, while Capelli took the race victory. In terms of the championship itself, we've obviously got the multiple categories as well. There's the challenge category, which is the drivers that are 21 years old and under, the top class podium, 21 years old to 45 years old, and then the star podium, which is for drivers over 45 years old. Again, I say all this like I know what I'm on about, but my good friend Adam Weller, the usual commentator for the series, providing a lot of info for me to get the job done. And thank you as well to the broadcasters and all of the very brave cameramen that are out there for the weekend with this amazing set of conditions that we get here at Autodrom Most. Looks like we're about to go green flag racing though, and it looks like Capelli is going to be the one to lead us away then as the pace car makes its way in. You can hear the announcer at the circuit itself getting very excited as well. And they get their foot down and crack on with it now, with just over 13 minutes of this race left to go. And look at the speed of these things down the start-finish straight. like a small swarm of angry wasps making their way down to turn one. You'll see some very interesting racing lines in these conditions because of the fact that these cars will grip really well around the outside of the corners where a lot of the standing water will be. They need to sort of trudge their way through it, but then the traction on the exit of the corner is absolutely nil. They squirm away out of turns 1 and 2. Capelli still leading it. NASCAR looking like he's under pressure actually from Maselli. Maselli tries to go around the outside down towards turns 5, 6 and 7, and it looks like he might have got it done. He's on the outside of 6, then the inside of 7, and yes, Luigi Maselli gets the move done and goes through into second place. Is sideways, 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 and still sideways is Claudio Capelli, constantly floating his way. Well, you don't need tyres in these weather conditions, you need water skis, and Capelli's gone straight on again, and all of a sudden Maselli finds himself, well, is he in the race lead? No, he's not. Capelli sideways again and again and again, left, right. Can't quite keep it in a straight line there as they head down towards turn 12, and he's still sideways. Now is Capelli. He'll be looking out the windows more than the windscreen at this point. There's the number 12 machine now of Gagianesi, championship leader. Davide now moving up into 3rd position. NASCAR's dropped back even further now, actually. And I think he's gone as far down as 5th or even 6th place. But I mentioned that these cars are lively in the dry. They're even livelier in the wet. Where is NASCAR? Is he off the road even? I don't know where on earth he's gone, but here is the move for the lead. Now watch the yellow machine, car number 75, into the hairpin, way too deep, locks up the fronts, I believe. No, he doesn't even lock up, the car just goes straight on. And NASCAR has dropped back a number of positions, but he's not off the road as Capelli slows down. Capelli's got an issue. No, from pole position, Claudio Capelli, based on the current pace of the car, isn't going to complete this race. Oh, that's such a shame. Started pole position, won the earlier race, and will now not complete this one either by the look of it. Look at how tiptoey they've got to be around the final couple of corners. Maselli had to be very careful there because he was on the curb, coming around the final corner as well. Across the line they go. Capelli leading, Maselli apparently leading the way now from Gagianesi. As, oh, there you go. There is the frustration from Claudio Capelli leading from pole position. Absolutely devastated to already be out of this race. And there is Maselli in the lead. It was Gagianesi, that had to be really careful around the final corner a moment ago. I got my cars mixed up. Car number 8 in 3rd position. That is Messina, Rosario Messina, making definite positions up from 5th on the grid anyway, at the expense of actually our entire front row, Claudio Capelli and Alberto Nasca. The rest of them still in the same order by the look of it, because Giussani's in 4th place, Bellini's in 5th place. Yeah, that's it. So the top 2 have dropped down below the others. And right now, Maselli is pushing on very hard indeed. Now, these legends really do slipstream each other very well. It's honestly like you've got double the horsepower when you chase one of the cars in front of you in these tiny little machines. But right now, not quite in range is definitely the phrase for Gagianesi, because Luigi Maselli is making this look very easy right now. These cars just skating around the circuit. It's quite the contrast to come to commentate Legends racing straight from truck racing. Some of the smallest race cars that you will see on a racetrack coming from some of the largest machines on a racetrack. But that's what these weekends give us in European motorsport. You get a fantastic mix of different paddocks from all around the world. There is the number 8 machine of Messina in 3rd position. You can see just in the background there, NASCAR trying to get past Bellini. NASCAR pushing on. Whoa, sideways out of turn 8. Trying very hard indeed just to keep his foot planted and deal with the aftermath with just the steering wheel and nothing else. And bravery, a lot of bravery. And look, sideways, round turn 20. Floating the rear end of this car about. They're so stiff on the suspension, these Legends, that they will just rock about. And now down the start-finish straight. NASCAR will get slipstream from there, believe me. From that sort of distance, you will get slipstream in these tiny little things. As he chases the definite number 10 in front of him. There's no mistaking which car is Alessandro Bellini. The black and orange number 10 has his race number printed all over it. So it looks like he's going really wide on the exit of turn 2 is Bellini, but he's actually using the wet line there to get away. Use whatever water and traction there is off the racing line. And there is your leader. Epic stuff so far by Luigi Maselli. He kept it calm and composed while the drivers went off around him. And look at this race lead. He's got now 3.4 seconds, give or take, over Gagianesi. Davide will be happy, though, because at the end of the day, our current race leader is not one of the drivers directly fighting him for the championship lead. Davide has got 219 points coming into this round, with Maselli, the driver we have on our screens right now, on just 190. Here is the NASCAR Bellini battle. Car 54 chasing car 10, just in the horizon there is Giussani, car number 99. But look, you can see Bellini running offline to make sure that he gets as much water on those tyres as he can, just in case it dries out. You've got to try and keep the tyres cool. It's very easy to shred up wet weather tyres. When you get on a dry line, especially, the sort of ridges and the edge of all of the groove tyres start to really get churned away with the temperature. Fantastic chase at the moment, though, by NASCAR on Bellini. Flying down towards turn 20. 21 corners here at the Most Autodrome in Czechia. Some of them are arguably not corners, more just curves. I think if we sort of streamlined it slightly, there would only be about 12 or 13 corners, but still a very complex and tricky racetrack with high-speed sections, low-speed sections, and big braking zones. Now look at this. Watch NASCAR's car on the right-hand side of your screen. It looked like he's got about 100 horsepower more than Bellini in front of him. Look at how he just rockets up to the back of him, moves to the right-hand side down the start-finish straight, hard onto the brakes. And is he going to make it work? Is he going to get it stopped in time? Well, Bellini's not. Bellini is absolutely gone. He's decided to attend the next round of the championship by the look of it. Goes through the tyre barriers. They're that small you can't see him over them. And where is NASCAR emerging in all of this? Now, NASCAR is behind him there. And I believe Bellini, if he's got his senses about him, will let him through, because you shouldn't really retain such an advantage by leaving the circuit like that. I think that's him moving out of the way, is it? Or is he just taking the wet line? I think he's maybe letting NASCAR through. It's hard to tell at this point. Because of the wet weather, they take so many different racing lines at this part of the course. But I imagine Bellini would move out of the way at this point. He isn't doing it at the moment, though. Maybe he's just waiting for the opportune moment, the right place of the circuit to do so. Yeah, looks like he was doing it there. Or am I being too hopeful in all of this? Am I being too polite? NASCAR says, not on your life, son. Down the inside, throws it up the inside of turn 13. Ah, look, Bellini there, you can see his hand. He just put his hand up in the air as if to say, well, go on then. Kicks the back end out. Now NASCAR's in front. And the racing is sort of reset between the two of them. 4.5 minutes to go here at Most. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Electric little cars, these things. Such an entertaining form of racing is Legends. Even if it gets a little bit more spread out like this, it is still massive entertainment. Alberto NASCAR, I believe, is the gentleman that, can't think of the right word, documents all of his racing via his YouTube channel. Really does a lot to promote the championship and himself. As there was Bellini going straight on at turn 1. And these cars weigh about as much as a mouse mat, so they really do move around on the brakes and skate around on the surface of the track. Interesting joker lap that by Bellini, though, wasn't it? He really made it work. And there, look, just watch the orange car now. Watch for his hand. Yeah, there you go. Puts his hand up and sort of says, go on, off with you. On your way. And on your way indeed. NASCAR now opening up a bit of a gap over him. Car number 26 in 7th place has dropped away about 8 seconds from these two right now. That's Claude Wetena. But there is your race leader, Luigi Maselli, continuing to lead this race at Most and doing a wonderful job of it at the moment. Into turn 10 in the hairpin. Taking a wide line, tucking the car back in, getting the power down on the exit. It looks very smooth, doesn't it? Usually these cars are sideways everywhere, but he's done a great job at getting the traction down there. It's now a 5.9 second lead, although a little chink in the armour there for Maselli as the car wiggles sideways slightly. And again, you can see the back end just wanting to break clear. Something you have to be aware of as a Legends driver as well is that the bodywork isn't the limit to the dimensions of the car. The wheels stick out a lot further than the wheel arches. So it's almost open wheel racing in these things. But Maselli is absolutely flying at the moment. Look at that sideways as well through turn 18. Nobody around him at this moment in time. That can sometimes be the worst thing as a driver, though. You've got no other visual reference to the drivers around you. That front right wheel's nearly coming completely off the ground there for Maselli. The car is set up that soft. I said earlier they're very stiff on the suspension, but they do move around a lot, don't they? In terms of the body roll and the momentum. They're one of these sorts of race cars that really does show off a lot of body language. As across the line goes Maselli. And I believe he will have now started the final lap of the race. Onto the brakes he goes. Nice and tidy again through the chicane. He really makes it look like he's not racing in wet conditions, doesn't he? A gap is now 8.1 seconds over championship leader Gaglianesi. Messina in third place. Giussani still in fourth. Only a couple of seconds ahead of Alberto Nasca, who holds on to fifth position at the moment. Then we have car number 10, Alessandro Bellini. It's now 3.2 seconds back on Nasca. Then it's Whelen, Matura and Capelli. But still, there's massive amounts of spray being kicked up by Maselli at the front of the field. With just 40 seconds left on the clock, I'm not sure he's going to get another lap in here. We'll have to see. It might be quite close, actually, but we'll see. We'll get there. Down turn 13 he goes. Car 39 has been very dominant at this point. A lovely slide sideways on the exit of turn 13. This long, sweeping left kink that doesn't even look like a kink due to the camera angle is actually turn 14. Hard onto the brakes into 15 as he starts to make his way back down the hill. Long left-hander is turn 16. And then turn 17, the right-hander, before getting back on the power through all the standing water through turn 18. Watch the back end try and break away through there. No, he's got it all under control, has Luigi Maselli. And it's looking nice and tidy for a race victory for the Italian. Second place is going to go the way of Gaglianesi unless something drastically changes now. Around the final corner, with a big drift on his hands and a fantastic race victory, going the way of Luigi Maselli. Started third on the grid and takes maximum points from this race here at Most in Czechia. What a great drive that was. Beautifully controlled. Once he got to the front, nobody could get near him. Gaglianesi finishes in second place in car number 12. Big points for him as well. And then car number 8 is going to cross the line next. That's going to be Rosario Messina. And then it's Giussani. Car number 99 crosses the line ahead of Alberto Nasca in car number 54. Great stuff though by Maselli. You can hear the announcer going absolutely nuts as well in the background after loving that one. Across the line there, car number 26, Claude Whelen, finishes the race as well in the yellow and red machine. And here comes the drifting from our race winner, nearly overdoing it slightly there. But to race these cars, you've got to have excellent car control, to be fair. These drivers all have that. Very little to no weight in these machines. Hopefully the rescue car not needed, but it seems like it's moving into position for somebody. I think we lost a driver or two. Michele Matura, I don't think, came through in the end. I don't remember seeing Fabiano or Luca Verdi at any point in that one either. So maybe some cars off in the early stages that just had issues. But a very entertaining race from the 2023 EuroLEGEND Cup. Hope you enjoyed that one. I certainly did. It was a very quick-fire introduction to the championship. Just a one-off appearance from me, but thank you to Adam for recommending me. The usual commentary will resume for the remainder of the season as far as I'm aware. But we still have the podiums to look forward to as well, I'm told. We should have the 3 podiums. I apologise in advance for not knowing who classifies for which one, but there's going to be the challenge podium for the drivers under 21 years old, the top class podium, which is the 21-year-olds to the 45-year-olds, and then any drivers that are over 45 will be on the star podium. A wave there by car number 8, Rosario Messina. And there is your race winner yet again, Luigi Maselli. I love the split livery, half blue, half red car, as the drivers are herded back into the paddock and back down to their respective camps to potentially go and pack away for the weekend after a busy time here at Autodrom Most. You can see some of the glorious scenery around this track. It's a very unique place, is Most. It sits in a gorgeous valley but has an incredible climate about it. It's definitely got its own climate. There is some of the wonderful scenery off in the background. But Maselli takes the win, Gaggianesi in second place, Messina in third, Giussani in fourth, and then NASCAR finishing in fifth. You can see the skies are a little bit clearer than they were. There's a big rainstorm in the background though, actually, contradictory to that. Hides half of the hills in the background. But it's time for everybody to pack down here at Autodrom Most by the look of it. And let's have a look back at some of the best images from the start of the race. It was Capelli and NASCAR on the front row of the grid. They finished first and second in the previous race as well. And they were definitely hoping for more strong results out of that one, starting first and second. But unfortunately, Claudio Capelli's race would not last very long at all, barely even lasting the first lap. He held on to the lead in the early stages though, and did a great job of it as well. But then, down towards turns 8, 9 and 10, Luigi Maselli did a great job to get through when a tiny mistake from Capelli opened up the gap down the inside. And it was from that point onwards that Capelli's race was done. Bellini going straight on down at turn 1 in his fight with Alberto NASCAR. Eventually giving the position back to NASCAR on the sort of later part of the circuit. And here it is, watch for his hand. Gives him the wave through. Says, off you go. That is your position to keep. But Luigi Maselli controlled the race from the very front. Did a beautiful job. And would eventually take the race victory to wrap up the weekend here at Most. And the Czechian circuit, definitely a track that challenges these drivers a lot, and especially their racing machines. And that's without taking the conditions into consideration, for sure. Not easy to get it right around here, because you never know, from one end of the circuit to the other, it can be a completely different environment. You've usually got turns 20 and 21 at this end of the circuit where our camera is right now, and then turn 10, almost 2 kilometers off near where that big pylon is, actually, on the left-hand side of the circuit. There is just such different weather conditions because of this valley that the circuit is situated in. And as you see the fans making their way back home after a busy weekend watching the racing, it's almost completely empty and dead now on the banks around the track, but I imagine everyone's got wet shoes and socks to go home and dry now before heading back to work on Monday. All of the personnel and the staff around the circuit will now bring themselves in. It looks like Claudio Capelli's car was able to make it back under its own steam. Not quite sure what's happened to it, whether it was an electrical failure or something that just died in the car momentarily. But he, unfortunately, did not complete the race. Even more frustrating for him, I think, the fact that the car could get away under its own power again, I guess. It's always a difficult thing to face as a driver when you have to get the car back and it's not just towed away, but you can actually drive it back yourself, knowing that it was a problem that could have been fixed, but under race control and race scenarios, you weren't able to. In terms of the championship, though, Davide Gagionesi will be pretty happy with the fact that he's only finished second in that race, so he wasn't far down the order. He didn't lose a lot of points to anybody around him. And as you see here, the podium being set up. And the drivers will be called over momentarily to come and collect their awards. Now, unfortunately, unlike my colleague Adam, I don't know the drivers off by heart or by their faces, I'm afraid, at this point. So if we have a microphone down there that will pick up the audio of the announcer, then hopefully we can figure that out. But we will have to see, I'm afraid. There will be the overall race podium, at least, which we will get. And I know that one. That's the one that I know. I can tell you that for sure. I'll be always open and honest about that. But the drivers have a long way to go from one end of the paddock here to the podium at Most. The Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Innovation Campus, such as just on the right of the shot there, which is the sort of far end of the paddock from where the trucks are actually located. And the Legends are just there on the right-hand side of your shot. That part of the paddock is where the Legends are. And you can see the sort of blue mass a bit further around towards the middle. That's where all the trucks in the Innovation Camp is located. So it's quite the trek from one end to the other for the drivers who have obviously just finished their race. A lot of hard work in those cars, though, and much like the other machinery that's been out there this weekend, NASCAR has been out there as well, and obviously the European Truck Racing Championship, all vehicles that don't handle perfectly. You know, they've got a lot of weight in them. They're all rear-wheel drive. They've got a lot of power and not all the traction in the world when it comes to wet weather racing. So somewhere like Most will always be a massive challenge to them. It's a very pretty circuit, though, isn't it? You can barely tell that there's a racetrack stretching all the way off into the distance like that, with all the trees and the valley around. It's a very beautiful place to come racing. You can see some of the cars and vehicles and all sorts already being loaded onto trailers and ready to be transported back to home locations and home countries and the like. And you can see that this has become the final podium of the weekend, unfortunately. A lot of the fans have made their way out. As well, there's no guessing who that driver is there, is there? Luigi Maselli wearing a race suit that reflects the livery on his car. And with a big punch of the air as he arrives, a very happy boy indeed with that race victory. And another one to add to his tally for an already impressive season here in the 2023 EuroLEGEND Cup. We just wait now to see the remainder of the drivers make their way over to the podium. More races coming up, though, for the remainder of the championship. Oschersleben in September, which will be on the 23rd and 24th. That'll be over in Germany for rounds 10, 11 and 12. Then we'll have the finals on the 14th and 15th of October at Zolder, which will be rounds 13, 14 and 15. 5 different race meetings this season for the EuroLEGEND Cup, and we look forward to each and every one of them. You can see now the rain starting to come down a little bit more, unfortunately, on the area here around Most. It is one of those parts of the world where you can never predict the weather. 1 minute it'll be absolutely throwing it down. The next minute it'll be 35-degree sunshine. It'll be absolutely wonderful. And we have a sudden influx of drivers now making their way over from the right-hand side of our shot. I believe one of them there, Rosario Messina, just making his way towards some of his either friends or family there. And I think Davide Gagianesi. Luckily, the website for the championship has got fantastic pictures of these drivers already in their race suits, which are all very different from one another. None of the drivers seemingly wear completely black race suits with no branding on them, which is nice. So that makes my life quite a bit easier, which is good to see. I can tell you that the gentleman there that's just arrived with the red shoes on is Simone Giussani. Why doesn't every championship have this? That'd be wonderful. Because one of the difficult parts as a commentator is not knowing who the drivers are when you see their faces a lot of the time. We always get used to seeing them in crash helmets and within the cars themselves. It's easy to tell who they are when they're in the actual cars. But when you see them like this, then it's easy to know who they are. There's Claudio Capelli, one of the best beards in motorsport. And he's clearly not happy about the fact that the car didn't make it to the end. But still, that's part and parcel of motorsport sometimes. And it was a good job leading from the very beginning from Claudio. But he did not get the job done, I'm afraid. Or the car did not get the job done. It would be unfair to say it was Claudio's fault that it didn't finish. But obviously, teammates with Rosario Messina, with the matching race suits as such. You can hear some of the truck horns sounding in the background as part of the convoy that's been here for the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. There's always a great attendance of all the trucks and the industry itself which supports it. And there's a lovely buzz around there down the podium, or down by the podium, as the drivers get prepared to get called up for their individual awards and trophies. And here we go. Oh, well, somebody's saving me a job by doing the podium announcements in English. Rosario Messina makes his way up to the podium for third place overall. Davide Gagianesi makes second place and heads up to the podium. You've got to be careful on a wet podium these days. One of our drivers slipped over at Poznan. And the overall race winner, Luigi Maselli, driver number 39. And they've gone a bit early on the champagne for the Italian national anthem. And there you go. You could see Rosario Messina did not want to get caught napping with the champagne. Luigi knows he's going to get absolutely soaked. And yes, he is. He's put himself in a corner, though. Fantastic stuff. Luigi Maselli making sure that he soaks the other guys at least. Great entertainment, as always, the champagne. It's one of my favourite parts of motorsport, the tradition of champagne on the podium. Don't forget your trophies, boys. And they now make their way off the podium, and we will get another podium now, which I think will be the challenge podium next up. Let's listen. Yes, challenge class. Easy when somebody else does my job for me, I can tell you that for free. Rosario Messina second in class. Just the two drivers in this category. He takes to the podium and takes his trophy. And Luigi Maselli back up to the top step of the podium once again as he takes first place in the Challenger class. He gets the cork thrown at him at least. No bottle of champagne for that category, but still, you can have a cork thrown at you if you want. And now we go for... Then we go the top class podium. Alberto NASCAR is called up for the podium, but not seemingly here. I think somebody from Alberto's team wanting to represent him, is he? And Simone Giussani gets second place in the top class and the leader in said class. And Davide Gaggianesi winning this class, getting the top step of the podium and a trophy to go with it. A bit of confusion there as to which trophy is Davide's. Congratulations to Davide Gaggianesi. He's going to be happy with that because he comes away with the championship lead still, not losing any points to his championship rivals. I think Alberto NASCAR has just turned up late for the podium. And here he is, arriving from the right-hand side. And here we are for the star class for the drivers over 45 years old. And Michele Motora gets the second place trophy in the star class. I don't think he was listening. Either that or he's been called up late, I'm not sure. I don't think he was here, it was Michele. I think that was Claude Whetan, or Whetain. I apologise if I'm saying your name wrong, Claude. I think it's a new race suit for him. And there's another trophy going to Claudio Capelli. I think that's for the overall weekend, I think. Almost seems like something out of a bit of fun for Claudio. A real shame for him, though, starting from pole position in that race, to have the car fail on him like that. That is a massive, massive shame. But like I say, one of the best beards in motorsport, it seems Claudio has got on him there. But a lot of entertainment indeed from the 2023 EuroLEGEND Cup. I really enjoyed that. I hope you all really enjoyed that as well. Very challenging conditions here at a very challenging circuit here at Most. It's never easy around this place, even in traditional racing cars. But in Legends like this, it can be very, very tough as well. There's a cork there, Sunshine. Careful. As the Italian flags are taken down from the podium now. That wraps up proceedings, I believe, here for the 2023 EuroLEGEND Cup. It's been a lot of fun to watch, though, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me, Chaz Draycott, for this final race of the weekend. Thank you again to the wonderful broadcasters, marshals and all sorts that get involved in making this happen. And thanks to my good friend Adam Weller for recommending me to commentate on this final race of the weekend when he unfortunately couldn't make it. I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Have a good weekend. Sorry, Ivan, were you there, mate? I couldn't hear you then. I can't hear you over the video.